there was a pretty severe hurricane or typhoon this past December, and during it, Cebuanos played soccer football, for 101 hours, which was the Guinness World Record, for a charity called Let It Echo, which supports children with congenital heart disease. So if you can go on Facebook/Let It Echo and like or share that, then you can show a little bit of support for the Cebuanos who have been hospitable to you. And so, yeah, thank you guys so much. And Mong is going to give his farewell.
Thank you, Lisa. Before the last panel, 2 more words. Let us all thank Cebu. Thank you is salamat. Salamat Cebu. Everyone, salamat Cebu. And another word, mabuhay. It means long live or welcome. Mabuhay Global Voices. Mabuhay Global Voices. Thank you, and let's watch this video for the last panel.
May 2005.
9th of May 2005. July 2005.
July 2005.
August 2005.
September 2005.
September 2005. March 2006.
June 2006, I think.
June 2006. December 2006.
December 2006. March 2007. April 2007.
April 2007.
July 2007. November 2007. April of 2008.
April 2008. August 2008.
August 2008.
October 2008.
January 2009. February 2009.
March 2009. May 2009.
May 2009.
I think it was 2009. I might be lying now.
Julie 209.
2009 or so, but I'm not sure.
October 2009.
December 2009.
February 2010. May 2010.
May 2010. May 2010.
October 2010. January 2011.
February 2011.
February 2011. March 2011.
March 2011. June 2011. August 2011.
September 2011.
2011. December.
November 2011.
Sometime mid 2011.
January 2012.
19 January 2012.
May 2012.
May 2012.
June 2012.
July 2012.
July of 2012.
2012. August.
August 2012.
October 2012.
December 2012.
May 2013. August 2013.
October 2013. November 2013.
April 2014.
June 2014.
July 2014. October 2014.
October 2014.
November 2004.
November 2004. Happy 10th anniversary, Global Voices.
So, in the beginning,
Well,
was...
before the beginning,
Oh, yes.
before we begin, before we talk about this, this is not a panel. This is a brief celebration of 10 years of Global Voices with that wonderful video, that amazing panel and art around the world. We want to move briefly into the realm of poetry and feature a new book just published by Nwachukwu Egbenuke. So Nwach, will you come up and read this poem about Global Voices, The Bridge, in your beautiful new book, Blazing Moon? Nwach.
The Bridge. A personal dream stirred a provocation. Straddling 9 seas, it varied from virtual to visual, from visual to virtual, begetting a bridge. Those stories lost in the web. recounted by stewards who, while the world talks, are ever listening. With stories we narrate history, with stories we tell hidden tales. Though tongues differ, with varying tongues tell, bridging net's diversity, centuries of net's humanity. Weaving stories untold, louding stories unheard, shouting for gagged voices, serving rising voices. From the four compass points, from sun's rising to its setting, from the Atlantic to the Sahara, making mighty echoes for netizens. We are the voice of the moods. We take it personal. We are the bridge. We are global voices.
We are global voices.
And now, from the beautiful to the very, very ugly.
So, let's see if I can get this back. Oh, it's on my left, okay. In the beginning, there was a very, very ugly blog.
Which was my fault.
Inviting people to dinner. You see that? Global Voices, Global Dinners. It was a blog post about, let's have dinner in lots of countries when we travel around, basically. But this is what Global Voices looked like in the spring of 2005, which was not too long after we started it, and we'll get a bit more into the history of how it started in a little bit. Let's see, there we go. This is Global Voices in 2006, when we actually did some design and started to figure out what Global Voices wanted to be, a little bit more than just having dinners. 2007, again, it began to evolve. Let's see, 2010, and today.
And of course, it's not just the main Global Voices website. We're a huge, diverse family. We've got this wonderful site, Advocacy, that fights for freedom of expression all over the world. We have Rising Voices, this amazing and inspiring project that reaches out to communities that we rarely see online. Through projects like Rising Voices, we've ended up with 40 different language editions, ranging from languages like Chinese to Malagasy. We're finding new ways for our friends like Watch to speak online, not just talking about what other people are thinking and feeling, but what we are thinking and feeling. We're even starting to produce some surprisingly watchable television with GB Face, where rather than having Washington talking heads telling you what's going on in the world, you actually hear from people on the ground about what they're seeing and experiencing. But here's the thing, Global Voices is way more than a website. We're a family. We're a family that badly exported our slides to PowerPoint, but we're a family. We're a team. And we're a community.
The question is then, how did we get here? We started with in-person meetings. Let's see. I have to point it in the right direction.
I can try it. I was getting it for a little bit.
Ah, there we are. So we started in 2004. Ethan and I had been following blogs around the world, and we were both fellows at the Berkman Center at Harvard. And as we've explained to some people in the internal meeting, we decided that it would be really cool if we could organize a meeting and bring some bloggers from different parts of the world to this meeting that Harvard had organized. It was mainly supposed to talk about US politics and the internet. We wanted to internationalize the conversation. And so we brought together some bloggers from China, from Iran, from Kenya, from different places. We didn't really know what we wanted to do beyond have a conversation in person. Let's see. But
Also,
these are This is Hossein Darakhshan from Iran. He actually started to talk about blogs as bridges. The word bridge blog actually came from him. Joey Ito, who some of you know, who's now Ethan's boss. We don't actually have many pictures from that meeting. We discovered it took some digging.
So from that early meeting, we started trying to figure out how we could produce and how we can advance. One of the big things that came out of that meeting was a document. It's a manifesto. And generally speaking, manifestos aren't particularly successful. There's something that people write, they stick up on a wall, you forget about them. This has been a document that's actually really governed us and sort of governed our mission from the first days we put it together. Many people who've been involved with Global Voices, one of the first things they've ended up doing was translating this manifesto into their own local language. It's only 237 words long. I'm not going to read it because there's that many words between us and beer. But for anyone in our community, I think, or I hope you share my sense that what we wrote 10 years ago still represents what we do now. And as we keep adding and keep changing the community, we keep coming back to these words about building bridges, these words of direct connection, these words about the right to speak and the right to be heard. So we didn't stop there, we kept getting together. Next time, we get together in London, and we were reporting on stories like the Southeast Asian tsunami, but we were also getting together at Reuters headquarters in London, where amazing bloggers like Oriokola from Kenya were helping us try to figure out this question of how could we use individual voices from the ground to report news from all over the world.
Oops. In 2006, Time magazine named Person of the Year you. We responded, now it's us. At the, oops, I'm sorry, what? Yeah. We responded that actually it's us, we're the community. We are the people that are being celebrated, that suddenly kind of mainstream media culture was recognizing as beginning to transform a global conversation. Let's see. Next. I'm not
So the history of Global Voices over these 10 years is two histories at the same time. It's the history of the news and the world, and it's the history of the people who have been trying to figure out how to come together and cover it. And so whether we've been trying to cover the Burmese protests in 2007, the Mumbai attacks, which hit terribly close to home for many of the people in our community, whether we're trying to even do things unusual like reporting the US elections from the outside with a website called Voices Without Votes, a tradition that I hope perhaps we'll try again in trying to figure out how the US election gets covered from other perspectives. And we also found ourselves coming together again, this time in Budapest, Hungary, in a hotel that I'm still not allowed to enter to this day, despite the fact that I spend a lot of time in that city.
Yeah, a little known story, Julian Assange showed up at that meeting, among the various other things that took place in that hotel. Although a lot of people who were there didn't know who he was and didn't notice him.
I think Julian Assange was the least controversial part of that meeting.
Yeah, I think you're right. This clicker doesn't like me. Here we are. This is also Budapest. We regret we're getting older when we look at these photos. And we continue to report the news, and our friends from Madagascar covering news that was really not being reported very much anywhere else, and translating between
We found
English
ourselves
and Malagasy.
in the unique position of covering a revolution with high school students who had come up through a Rising Voices program, Fuku Club, being the frontline reporters reporting this major story.
There we go. 2009. 2009. Where was that summit? We didn't have a summit oh, that's Miami. I didn't go to Miami. That's why I don't recognize where that
Neither of us
was.
are there. We're still at the
But just a note of appreciation to people who aren't here. Solana Larson in particular, and a number of other faces, some who are here today and some who are no longer active in the community, but who remain good friends. And we continued to cover the news, whether or not the mainstream media covered it or not.
So in 2010, we got together in Santiago, Chile, but in many ways, many people heard about Global Voices for the first time in 2011, where we found ourselves in the middle of one of the hugest stories that's broken in the last few decades, the Arab Spring, where we had the unique opportunity to report the revolution in Tunisia as our correspondents were overthrowing the government in Tunisia, for anyone who's wondering about fears of color revolution coming to the Philippines here. And we've tried to keep an eye on protest movements and on citizen movements around the world, looking at Occupy Worldwide in 2015. But we've also been occupying worldwide in 2015, coming together in Nairobi, Kenya, where we took over an entire village and turned it into Global Voices Village.
I think Paula got invited to the wedding of one of the staff at the hotel. They loved us so much. That doesn't happen with many conferences,
Not very
I
often.
think. And our team continues to cover the stories that matter in an original way. I'm not sure what
From
the next slides
Euromaidan
are.
into the missing students in Mexico, and even to today, where we find ourselves in the wonderful city of Cebu, where we're so grateful for the hospitality that we've had, allowing us to come together, have a wonderful, wonderful time in the Philippines, and have this wonderful meeting and sort of share this all with you. So we just have a few things to say, and one is just to remind everybody that 10 years into this, we still stand for what we stood for 10 years ago. We are all about trying to protect freedom of expression in online spaces. We're about trying to defend the rights of people to share their voices and perspectives online. And in over 10 years, we've been challenged to do this, not just on behalf of the internet as a whole, but members of our own community. And so we're starting and also ending by thinking about the people whose voices are under threat, the people who find themselves in prison, like we will be in a party in a moment, but the people whose right to speak we need to protect.
Another point to make is that people often ask the two of us, what's your plan for Global Voices next? And it's really not up to us. As Global Voices has grown and evolved, it's been because of the ideas from the community. And it's been really the Lingua sites, the Lingua project came from members of the community. It was not our idea. Rising Voices also came to be because people in our community said, we need to help the unheard. We don't want to just be the rich urban people's voices. We want to reach out to communities that aren't blogging, that aren't connected, and bring them into the conversation. And so it's all of you that continue to drive the future of the organization, not the two of us.
So as we think about where we've been and we think about where we're going, one thing I want to ask for our friends from the Philippines who are still with us at the end of this long and really action-packed day, stay with us. Stay with us not just in terms of coming with us to have a party, but stay with us as part of the community. We've got Global Voices Philippines. We have a site that we've started. So far, it's only in Tagalog.
What
we
about
would
Cebuano?
love to have it in Cebuano as
Yeah.
well. But we need you to come, be part of this giant experiment that we've had going on here for 10 years. Let's make fil.globalvoicesonline.org, soon to be phil.globalvoices.org, one of our most wonderful and vibrant and vital sites. We would love to have you be part of this. But here's the thing, we're standing up in front of you. We're talking about 10 years of Global Voices. We're talking about visions of the past and visions of the future. But there's a secret, which is this has basically nothing to do with us at this point. It has everything to do with you. It has to do with everyone here who's talking and listening, everyone who's building and producing things, everybody who works together to make this an incredible community, team, and family that continues to build this wonderful thing that we call Global Voices. So I want to thank everybody who's here, everybody who's had part of this project, but we want to thank some folks in particular. I'd like to ask folks on the Global Voices core team to stand up and please get a round of applause, please.
Georgia.
Where would we be without you guys?
Rebecca and I sometimes talk about ourselves as the grandparents of Global Voices, and that's because Ivan and Georgia are the parents.
Even
of
though
Global
you're
Voices.
the youngest of the four of us.
So with that in mind, grandparent to parent, we're going to hand over the mics to our two fearless leaders who are going to say some thanks to the amazing people who've made this conference possible. But before we leave the stage, thank you so much for 10 amazing years. Let's have 100 more. God bless Global Voices. Thank you so much.
Grandma, Granddad, I want to say thanks, first of all, to our sponsors, our international sponsors, Ford Foundation, Google, MacArthur Foundation, Open Society Foundations, and Making Your Voices Count. And I want to say even more thanks to our sponsors here in Cebu. This building is the gift of the province of Cebu, who've been, the most welcoming municipal government. We've never had this kind of welcome in any city we've been in. And as we said at the opening, we've actually never done a summit outside of a capital city, and this Cebu may have started a trend. I think going to the second city may have some serious advantages.
Third city next time?
Third city next time, maybe. The Department of Tourism, many of you were welcomed at the airport in MacKinnon by a Rondalia ensemble. You received a name. That was the Department of Tourism. And they're also supporters of the party we're going to tonight. Wikimedia Philippines, Mozilla Philippines, Philippine Center for Investigative Journalism, Globe Telecom and Smart Telecom for the Internet, Sunstar Media, and especially Needy Caballero, who couldn't be here, unfortunately, who literally uttered the first words, Global Voices come to Cebu. I forgot Yahoo the night before because I really wanted to end with PR Works and Doris Subal Mongaya, who...
Get everybody in Doris and Doris's team to stand up, please.
And her team.
Because you guys have been amazing. Thank you so much for your help,
Doris and
for your
her team
support,
have
your
been
goodwill, for your spirit and your generosity.
This has been
Thank you,
my
all of you.
most relaxed summit. I mean, each summit I get more and more relaxed, but this year really, they
Just
pull
off
out
of
all
a
the
picture of
stops.
her asleep. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't look relaxed, I look really sleepy, but that's for other reasons. But honestly, we're really, really grateful to PR Works and Doris, and they also gave us the drone photograph as a gift. And really, guys, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And Global Voices community. Without you, I mean, well, my email inbox would be so empty. My stress levels would be so low. But no, really, I mean, absolutely love you all. We wouldn't have the summit without you guys. So thank you for coming. Thank you for participating, staying up all those late nights, drinking. lots of beer for the team, and turning up the next morning at the meetings and contributing great ideas to this process. And now I think we have to go to prison.
I think we do have to go to prison.
Okay, God. I was gonna just walk off the stage and have the video come up, but yes. We have a little surprise, which has obviously been busted by our grandparents. But that's how grandparents are about technology. They're not very good at the tech thing, so you have to excuse them. But tonight, I expect to see every one of you at the Museo Sugbo. I can't remember the address, but you can Google it. We have buses leaving from the back there. I know some of you want to go back to the hotel. If you go back to the hotel, just take a taxi. But please be quick, because we're going to have some dancing, some sinologue performers, lots of music, and guess what? Food. So,
As if you haven't had enough.
exactly. I know we've all been starving here in Cebu, as the scale tells me every morning. So, thank you all, guys, and after a little surprise, it's party time.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.